Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Jackie from WhiteRaven, the BookRook on Vancouver Island. I watched a video the other day by Treasure Books, and I thought I would make something similar to what she made. I'll link her down below so you can see how she did it, because she's very good. But this is I gathered some materials together, and I think I'm going to use this for the cover. It's going to go on the inside, and some envelopes. I've got a few other things that I'm going to put together as I go. So I thought, since I'm just kind of making this, I'd take you along and see where it goes. So the first thing I did was got an envelope that was 10 by 13 to the fold, flat fold, and then I made a score mark at 6.5, so that left this piece here to be 6.5, and then I did another quarter score, a quarter of an inch away from the original first score. So and then I made a little booklet, just some papers that I thought would be great, and have some graphics, and then just some plain, and I glued and taped that in on both sides. So to do this, I just I'm using a collage medium in a matte finish, and I'm not worrying about wrinkles in the paper or anything like that too much. I just want to get it glued on to there, and again stuck on here. So I have to work quick with this glue. So, and then I just get that piece to there, and like I said, that's all I worry about, is getting it on. Try not to overlap this center too much, because it does give a thicker white line. But so I just get that baby on there, and then I'm going to let that dry. So all I'm going to do here is just tear this off of the end here, and then I'm just going to let that, since my paper was a little extra long, I decided that I would just add more support to those edges by wrapping that paper around to this side, the back side, the side that I'm going to put the material on. And I'm just gluing that all down. Sorry, I don't even know what focus I need to be. Let's do this. Sorry about that. So anyway, there we go. So I just glued that onto there, and that onto there. So I'm not going to use this glue for putting the material on, because it's too expensive for that. But I do have this other glue. It's called Yes Paste, and I find that's pretty good for sticking down material. So I'm going to just paste that all up and get my pink cover on. So I'll show you once that's done. Okay, so I got the cover glued on the back material. It stuck really well, and the inside has the booklet on the one side and the papers on this side. Shut that noise off. So yeah, the collage paper is at the back. And then what I started to do is I found 3 envelopes that I wanted to put in here, and I put them in with the washi tape. So each one went in. I haven't backed it on there, but I probably will to make it a little more secure. So each one is just put in with one piece so far. And this one, I didn't have an envelope big enough for what I wanted, so I had one of these larger size ones, a little bit smaller than what the book cover is, and so I just folded it in half, and I taped it in, so I have a 3rd envelope. And then what I'm going to do here on this is I'm going to just cut this along here to make, shoot, I'm using my material scissors. Oops. Anyway, there's a nice pocket on this side for once I get going. So next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a waterfall that goes from here and flips up. And so I'm going to figure out how exactly to do that, and I will show you in one sec. So I've got regular paper, 8 by 10 or 10 by 8.5 by 11, sorry, and I've cut it in half. So I had a full sheet, sorry about that, full sheet, cut it in half, and then I have, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 or 13 pages in different colors. So I've got white, graph, and pink, white, graph, pink, white, graph, pink. So I will take those. So those, and I get those all nice, are what's going to go in here and be my waterfall. But I'm not going to just make a bunch of paper like that. I'm going to waterfall it. So I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so this is the way I do it. I just take one of the pages and I fold it over, and I have a bit of an extra length on this side of maybe one thumbnail, which is probably about a ½ inch or so. So just fold that over. Then I take the next sheet and I do the same space to here, and then that will create an equal space over here, and I just fold that. So I'll show you here with the white. Just take fold it to there. So you've got the size that you want. And once you've got that, you just fold that, and that'll create that equal distance on this side. Isn't that neat? I think it's really quite neat. Or what you can do, conversely, is you can measure your length on this side. So you've got it the same, and then just fold this piece over. Right? So we're going to end up with a pretty short piece on the top here. So I'm not going to even bother putting in that many pages here. The way to do that, to add more pages, would be to make this narrower. But I'm going to just stick with what I've got here. I'm happy enough with that for this book. All right. So then you can go through, and if things aren't even, you can even them up. But those aren't too bad. Then I will sew this. Find the center. I'll sew this with just a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and then I will tape it into the book. I will show you in 3 secs. Okay, so I'm sure we all know pamphlet stitch, but just in case, there's 1, 2. I usually about 2.5 times the length of my booklet. Okay, quickly 3-hole pamphlet. Open it to the center. Poke a hole through. Oh my gosh. Jeez. Go back down through the outside, back in. I didn't pre-punch the holes because there's not a lot here. And there's a couple ways you can do this. I like to just go up to the top here and poke through, and then bring that back into the center. Lots of videos on YouTube for this, different stitching that you can do. So the only thing I do here is I make sure that I've got one string on one side and another string on another side. And bring that through, make sure those are fairly tight. pull both of those so that that's fairly tight. Pretty much the hardest thing about that is threading a needle. For me it is anyway. And tie a knot. So that's that. That's all done. Okay, so now that I have pages sewn together, I can take that and I'm going to put that there. Now, I could make this longer, but I don't really mind it that size. So you would just figure that out when you're cutting your paper, how long you want it plus a fold. So I just took the 8 by 11 and cut it in half, but if you wanted to use it longwise, you would be able to go longer, obviously. So, but I'm going to put a pocket underneath here, so I'm going to just leave it that size for now. So next I'm going to work on just taping that together. And because I want it fairly strong, I've got this linen tape that I'm going to use on here, so I'm just going to cut that. And find the edge of the backing and pull that off, and then place this down on top. It's kind of hard to work around the camera, but let's just trim that down. And then I'm going to put that where I want that centered in the back here. And then I'm just going to shut the booklet. And pull it over. Now I've left a little bit of this open because I don't want to really be seeing. I want it to be covered by my material on the back, so I'm just going to stick that onto there, and then later I can come back and re-glue that down. So just keep that in mind if you don't totally glue your edges or trim them until you're ready, because you might need to do something like that. So there we have the basics of this little book. I'm going to put 3 pockets over here. I will show you that in 2 secs once I get them. Now I just have this pad, these pads of paper from scrapbook.com. They're 8 by 6 inch pieces, and that's pretty much the size of what I have here. That's 6 going right to the edge there. So I'm going to cut these down a bit so that I can make 3 pockets to put onto here. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to punch some holes in the center. And I'm going to just go to the center all the way. So the way I can do that to make sure I'm lined up is just line them up, one with the other, like that, and then find the punch, and then do the same with this one. I don't think I'm quite in the center, but that's okay. And that was easy. So now I have 3 with that. So what I'm going to do is line them up. Now these are double-sided, so it's nice I can pick and choose what way I want to go. I'm going to go with that one. It's a little bit more matching, I think. This is why it takes me so long. I'm going to go with that. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just line those up. So now we can see that these are off. Okay, so I'm going to go with that. Okay. that combo there, I think. Or I could turn it over and go with this combo. So I decided I'm going to go with this combo. And I've got them all spaced out the way I want them so that I have pockets that deep. All I'm going to do is turn this over and cut this one off. But I have to remember I don't want it to go right to the end or I won't be able to get in. So I'm going to have to come down just a little bit. So I'm going to cut that off just a titch with my cutter. So I've got this in here. I'm just going to cut those off. And save these for embellishments later. And then I've got my 3 pockets. Now they measure still 8. The widest is about 5, 4, and 3 as they descend. So I'm just going to put those on there. So all I'm going to do is glue these spaces here. Now I decided I'm not going to distress all the edges, I don't think. I do change my mind, but I am going to distress a little bit on the edges of these, just so that they're easier to see. That from that. Once I put the ink on. You don't have to do that, of course. You don't have to do anything. But this is what I do. So I'm going to put those together like that. I'm going to distress. Don't need to distress down there if you really are worried about saving that little bit of ink. But it's going to be covered. So then I will just glue one to the next to the next. So I'm going to get my book out of here again. Let's put my blade away and get this out of here so it doesn't get all glued on. And I'm just going to glue one to the next and to the next. So this is how I do it. And along the bottom, up the side, and put that one on there. Straighten it up and do the same. Go all the way up and all the way along. This is pretty good sticky glue, so whoops, it's kind of, it'll hold. And then put that on there. This glue also gives you a second or two to move stuff. It's just cheap, tacky, Aliens tacky glue. I get it at Michael's, like $4. So that's that. So that'll go on there, and that's all nice. Now I've got 3 beautiful little pockets, and I will put those, that I will glue. Now I'm going to go all 3 sides here. And place that on just above the tape, centering that and lining that up nicely, and just pressing that down. So this is a simple little booklet. Anyone could make this real quick. So I did cut a little bit out of here on this one as well with my 1/2 inch paper punch, or 1 inch. Made a thumb groove, and I distressed those edges just a little bit, just so that it looks, you know, follows in there with that. So there we go. Next I'm going to make a booklet that goes in here, and then that will be the foundation. And then it's just a matter of coming back in and decorating and making sure that everything is glued, and setting up a tie closure thing, mechanism of some sort. Okay, so here's my experiment. I want to make a cover that's the same as the main cover. I'm going to use the opposite side of the fabric. And so what I want to do is be able to put opposite sides out. And I'm going to glue. So here's my experiment. Is apparently this stuff glues anything to anything, pretty much. Paper to metal and to rubber and to material, and I'm just going to hope that it's going to glue material to material. It's not Fabri-Tac, but it's supposed to be able to stick to pretty much anything. Porous surfaces, and dries translucent with a matte finish, and then I will be able to stitch the booklet into there. So I'm going to glue this and I'll let you know how it goes, because I'm going to have to give it a minute or two to dry. So I decided that I'm going to just put a little strip or two of this on that seam. It worked pretty good, that glue, actually. I'm pretty impressed with that. So I'm just going to put that piece to there, and cut that off. So I've got that on there, and then what I do with this tape, because I have trouble finding the end always, is I just leave it a little bit longer, or cut it a little shorter so that it'll stick to itself when I roll it up, like this. Just pull that back a bit, cut it off, fold it back a bit like that, and then you can stick it to itself. There you go. There you go. So yeah, so I got that on there. I might put another piece. I will put another piece on here. I have it ready to go. So we'll have this on the inside. Zero and up, right. I don't suppose it matters much. Doesn't matter much at all. So I'm just going to cover up that ragged seam and line that up halfway, and stick that on. I think that goes nicely with that. It's got some of the same tones. So there we go. Now I'm going to sew. I've got my papers ready for a booklet. I just gathered more of the same types of paper, and I've got 10 pages here folded in half. You can make this as big as you want. So that's going to go in there. So I'm going to cut this paper down just a titch so that it fits in nicely. Okay, so putting that tape on, it was sticky to go through, because particularly since I had the tape, 2 layers of tape, and the 2 layers of that material. So it was a little tricky, and this is just jute twine, so it wasn't the best. I would probably use something different, but I wanted to keep it consistent with what I already had. So I used a pair of pliers to help yank that needle through. Oh my goodness. So I don't know what's happening here. My camera keeps shutting off. Everybody has that problem, I think. So I was saying that what I've done here is I put a piece on the flap of that cover envelope on the outside, and then onto the inside here. So I've collaged that down, the same paper as we used here, and I've gone on a little bit into the inside so that it will look finished, and then I will rank this off once it's dried here. So I will continue to come back in here and decide how I'm going to complete these pages, envelopes here, and what else has to go on is the closure. So there's a bit more to go. So I will add that as once I do it. I will come back and show you how I've done it, or as I'm doing it. If it's pretty simple, I'll just do it and then tell you that I did it and how I quickly did it. And if it's a little more complex, or I feel like I should show you, then that's what we'll do. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, so carrying on here, I want to show you kind of where, what else I have done as far as embellishing. I'm not sure where my camera shut off, but I did put a piece of tape on the inside here. I think I showed you that. I have to just trim that down, make that nice, and then that will go on there. So I did also, let me just start over here. Okay, so let's see, I can't remember quite where I left off, so I thought I would just kind of show you what I've gotten to this point. Got the cover, and then we made a little flip book that's on this side. I put some collage paper on the back, put this little piece of decorative paper on the front, so it's a stronger cover. And then I made the waterfall, and then I made a couple of pockets here, 1 and 2, that closes to there. I double taped the envelopes. There's 3 envelopes in here. I double taped them. I put a little bit of the same paper onto the front flap, and I will figure out if I'm going to, how or what I'm going to do to add embellishments to this and to this. And this is the big envelope, and what I did on here was I put collage paper in there on the inside, so that when it closes, it'll bring that through to it. And I also did this side. This was the back of that whole big envelope, the one that I folded in half. So I collaged that whole thing. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet here. I'm going to probably put a nice big pocket in here, maybe a double pocket for some tags, and decorate the fronts. I've also got this space to decorate. This also, if you remember, I cut that edge. So now I have, and I also did a little punch hole on this one side. So now I have a big pocket on this side to add something in, and I need to decorate that. And then on this side, we have the 3 pockets. 1, come on, 2, 3. So I will get some pieces to embellish and put into there. And finally, we have this big pocket here. I did the folder, I did the back of this flap with the collage paper, and I folded it over and tucked it down inside a little bit on the inside of the flap. So, and there's the little booklet that we made that will go, and that's just another little booklet for writing and making your notes, and that will go in there. I've just kind of put a paper clip on there for now. Figure out what I want to do, but a paper clip's always handy, especially for kind of book like this. So that lives in there, and that'll go like that. So I have a little bit more to do to finish decorating. I also trimmed down the edges of the paper, of the material here. Trimmed off all my ragged edges of the collage. So now I'm going to put some pieces inside of here into these pockets. Embellish pieces that I haven't got embellished, and figure out some kind of tie closure. But this is basically the making of this, what would you call this? Trifold, maybe? Bifold, because it's not, yeah, maybe a bifold. One, yeah, it's only 2 folds. And So I will do another video that will be the final embellished and completed little booklet. You can watch for that, and there'll be a link in the description box if you want to see how it all turned out. So I hope that you all make something's quite easy. I did this in one afternoon and I had to run out a few times. So that gave me time for the collage ink or glue to dry. And like I say, it's quite easy. And if you've got some friends that are needing little gifts, or you just want to make yourself up something, this would be great. Okay, so if you do make something, let me know. And if you want to subscribe, if you haven't already, and comment, I would appreciate any great feedback. And thanks again for joining me. Yeah, please take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye now. Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Jackie from WhiteRaven, the BookRook on Vancouver Island. I watched a video the other day by Treasure Books, and I thought I would make something similar to what she made. I'll link her down below so you can see how she did it, because she's very good. But this is I gathered some materials together, and I think I'm going to use this for the cover. It's going to go on the inside. There's some envelopes. I've got a few other things that I'm going to put together as I go. So I thought, since I'm just kind of making this, I'd take you along and see where it goes.